This is Things Police See, First-Hand Accounts, with your host, Steve Gold.
Welcome to the podcast that interviews active and retired police officers about their most intense, bizarre, and sometimes humorous moments on the job. It is I, Old Gingerface, here with you as always. Thank you for being here, guys. Thank you for finding the show and all the binge listening that you've been doing. Truly appreciate that. As I always say, the content is evergreen, so you can kind of just, if you like hearing these officers tell their amazing stories, you can rip through all of them. They're all pretty much, they're all good to go. There might be some cops in the news in there that are topical, but mostly the whole idea of the show is for you to hear the men and women of law enforcement tell their stories as they live them to gain a better appreciation for what it is they're actually doing out there. So that's the whole point. If you love the show and you want to be kept up to date on stuff, you can go to the website and thingspolicey.com and join the newsletter and follow on Instagram and Facebook. All that stuff is truly appreciated, guys. My guest today, excited to have him, had a long career. Believe it or not, started out as a high school teacher and football coach. He then did 32 years in the DEA. He was a supervising special agent, even taught at Quantico Tactical Training Unit, which is pretty impressive. Excited to have him. Let's bring him on. Jack McFarland. Jack.
Hey, Steve, how are you doing? How's everything?
Good, brother. Good to have you on. I'm proud to say, I know you just got into this social media game recently. I'm proud to say I am your first follower on Instagram.
Thank you very much. Yeah, it's a different world, man. I'm just learning every day. I learn something new every day. Yes, sir.
It's very cool, man. I've said it a million times on the podcast, but especially from speaking from a podcast standpoint, in today's day and age, you can literally for a couple $100 start your own radio station and put your message out there. It's incredible. Everybody can have a voice, you know?
That is absolutely correct. A buddy of mine about mid-June dared me to do this. And I said, okay. I said, let's give it a shot. So he had a contact. We went for the first guys. And I could put the name out, the Team House, if you don't mind,
Sure.
Out of New York, and hit it off with those guys, super guys. And before you know it, I'm getting like leads and emails and calls. And I'm like, okay, I can do this. I can do this. So every day it's been an adjustment, but also it's kind of fun. It's kind of fun putting the word out to the DEA.
Absolutely, man. Jack, I mean, having a career as long as you did for the DEA, you have a lot to share with the world. A lot of people are going to learn stuff from you. Why not? This is the fun part. You know, you can kind of talk about the war stories, what you went through, guide new people getting into it. Like it's really fun, and it's all at your own pace, you know?
That's correct. I mean, yes. I mean, a lot of our guys will either go on to second career or second opportunity, second jobs. I didn't want to chase that carrot. Myself, my wife, we ended up doing, knock on wood, well for ourselves financially. But you always want more. Everyone wants more in life, but so you got to know
Sure.
what you want and what you don't want to do. So I didn't want that, but all of a sudden, this comes along, and people have said to me, Jack, you were a former teacher, former coach, an academy instructor. You've been to this class, you've been to this class. Part it out there. Get the information out there to the GP. We call them the GP, the general public. And one thing I don't do is I'm a coal cracker from up in the just northwest of Allentown, Pennsylvania. I'm a coal region guy, and a little town up there called M City, I'll call it. And just the people up there are just such great people. They're tough workers, coal miners. And I thought to myself, I moved on from there, got into a great career with the federal government, the DEA. I did apply to the FBI back in 87 and the DEA in 87, and DEA came a calling first. So that's how I ended up going with DEA. And 32 years later, Steve, if you're not familiar, your listeners are not familiar, but at 57, if you're a weapon carrier for Uncle Sam, DEA, FBI, Secret Service, ATF, U.S. Marshals, like there's a whole laundry list of them, alphabets. You're out at 57. So I got a tap about a year before. I'm sitting there in headquarters in Washington, D.C., and I get a tap from HR. They're like, here's your packet. I'm like, my packet for what? And they said, retirement. I'm like, oh my God, did I get that old that fast?
It's so funny.
Yeah.
They're doing the opposite thing in Massachusetts now. They're worried about the retirement system being able to support all of this. So they're making cops can retire now into their 60s.
Wow.
I'm in the old system, so I can go at 55, but the mandatory retirement age is now it's in this mid 60s, and you can get a waiver from the state Senate. They're not hard to get. So we've had cops working into their 70s now.
Wow.
I mean, doing 50 years on the road. It's like, man, you should go see a psychologist, brother. Something wrong.
I don't know how you guys. I have great respect and great respect for local, county, state guys that are out there and gals that are out there every day doing what you guys do, because you're right. You're on the road by yourself, and then the next closest unit to you is like 10 or 15 miles, or maybe even further if you're a rural trooper in PA. I mean, buddies of mine,
Sure.
two good friends of mine were rural troopers. One rose up to the rank of major, one to the rank of captain. And you could be out there 30, 40 miles where your closest backup is. With DEA, we always kind of went out heavy. We always had a lot of tactical teams and teams going out. When you're doing say an undercover purchase, you're going to have 8, 10, 12 personnel out there protecting you, watching you. So I take my hat off to you guys, and even the international as well. Yes, sir.
Yeah, absolutely. Jax, I got to ask, and people want to hear, high school teacher and football coach. I mean, that sounds like a slice of Americana to me. But how do you go from that to wanting to do the DEA? Was it always just like a burning passion, or you were always curious? What happened?
Oh, that's a great question, Steve. It really is a great question. Okay, so basically, teaching and coaching, great careers. I mean, yes, I always would say teaching is not an earning experience; it's a learning experience. You're going to learn an awful lot: time management, how to communicate effectively, your written skills. Everyone thought I was a PE teacher, phys ed teacher. No, I was a business education teacher. I taught accounting, business law, consumer mathematics. And I had a certain group that I always came to as a teacher. I had the athletes, and I had no disrespect, I call them the army jacket personnel, meaning the tough guys, the tough ones that weren't the brainiacs and they weren't the athletes, but they were good people. You need Mr. McFall, you need something? I'm like, no, we're good. No, I'm good. I'm good. Don't stay away from him. Don't touch him. Leave him alone. So, but after several years of doing this, a friend of mine, not to bore you with subject matter, but a friend of mine who was working for Alphonse D'Amato, was a U.S. Senator. He was a staffer. Jim played linebacker up at Syracuse University. Great athlete, great linebacker. So he got his master's and went down to D.C. And he sends me this package through snail mail. He says, Jack, I just sent you some package for government jobs. I said, well, Jim, I said, I'm kind of content where I'm teaching you at. So he said, just fill them out. I said, so I filled them out, FBI special agent, DEA special agent. Went through the process together. DEA came a calling. Really, was it a plan? Not really. But when I got an academy, Steve, let me just tell you something. My roommate, all right, here's my roommate. God bless the rest of his soul. God bless his soul. He was killed in the first Gulf War. He was a Marine Corps major. He was in the Marine Corps Reserves coming out with DEA. He was a Naval Academy graduate. The guy was 6'1", about 2'5", 210, good-looking Irish dude from Brooklyn, New York. And I'm going, what am I doing with these people? Ranger this, Marine Corps that, Jersey Trooper here. And I'm like, did I just enter into the wrong world here or what? I'm a school teacher, for Christ's sake, So, and it worked out because I knew that I could hang with these people. I could hang with them. And I did.
Yeah, I mean, it takes all types too. I mean, it's you need all kinds of walks of life. I don't know how beneficial it would be to have all law enforcement and federal agents to be prior military. You're
right.
They're great, but like you need to mix it up. Like I was never a military guy. I went into law enforcement. Same thing when I went to police academy. A third of our class was military guys, and thank goodness for that because they taught us how to stand in formation and march and about face because we didn't know what the hell we were doing. But it takes all kinds.
It's true. I mean, and think about this. Here's a guy standing next to me on the firing line for, I guess back then we were about 14 weeks. Now, for many, many years, it was 17 weeks, 18 weeks. When I was down there, I was an agent instructor, it was 17 weeks. And here I'm standing on the firing line with Gene to my left. Loved him dearly. Still have his numbers and all that stuff. Of course, he was killed February 2nd, 1991. He had crashed his his Cobra, his gunship. And sad, very sad. But this man is like hitting targets. And I'm like, what is this Sig Sauer? What's this double decock and holster and double action mean? And I'm like, I don't know this stuff. I mean, I can tell you what a safety should be doing when if there's in a cover 2 formation, but I'm like, what are we doing here? So, but I learned and it was fun. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, absolutely. And I hear they take firearms very serious in the federal academies, I hear. So you actually, you got to be a shooter to get out of there.
Yes, you do. You have to handgun, shotgun, and rifle. So I guess now they're been using the M4s for a long time, the 223s, the 5.56s. But when I went through back in the late 80s, we had a weapon called the SMG. It was called a submachine gun. It was a baby 9mm. It was a awesome weapon, but the penetration on it wasn't that good. So eventually they went up to the Colt M4s, the Rock Rivers, and so on and so forth. But because you have to have the firepower out there, because the bad guys got the firepower. You don't want to be outgunned. You just don't want to be that way. And if you ever look up a case, FBI shootout down in Miami, Florida, Grogan and Dubs. Look at those guys. They got out there, and what saved them was the fellow that had the 12 gauge. And then when that happened, Bureau changed their policy. Weapons, man, they went with the long guns out in the streets. So,
yeah, that birthed the 40 cal, didn't it?
It did. They went to the 40 cal, and that's what we followed FBI too, with the 40 caliber handgun. And as I said to the boys on Team House, I said I'm not a barrel sucker. And I love one of the comments that Dave said, and I have to repeat this: gun shoot, gun good. That's what I am. Gun good, gun shoot, gun good. I repeat that because it's like velocity rounds and this and that. But anyway, we went to the 40 cal. Then I'm not, like I said, I'm not a TNA guy, testing and evaluation guy, T&E guy. But then they went back to the 9mm. So I had the 40 cal Glock 22 eventually after the SIG 9mm into the Glock 22 40. Then I got myself a baby Glock 9mm as a backup, and I still have that today because it was my weapon. So, but with the 40 cal, they're so, as you know, if you fire
snappy.
They are bang. They're powerful. You can't keep it on target no matter how strong you are. It moves. It jerks. Boom, boom, boom. So then they went back to the 9. Now, from what I understand, I think they're using either the 17 or 19 Glock. Yep. So they're using that.
Yeah, I mean, it's true. I've taught fire instruction for a while now, and the 40 is a hell of a round, but so is the 44 Magnum. You know what I mean? But the problem is females and small guys, or smaller hand guys, or guys that aren't super proficient. You put a 40 in their hand and it's jumping everywhere, and then same thing, because we follow the feds. We went back to the 9 when the 9mm technology got better and the bullets and blah 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 blah, and all the firearm scores got back up into the 90s, 100s. But with the 40, they were, the follow-up shot was almost impossible because it was so snappy,
May I ask you a question? What was your furthest distance you would fire? What's your furthest distance?
State of Massachusetts official qualification only goes back to 15 yards, so 45 feet.
15. Can you believe we were firing handguns from the 50-yard line with DEA?
That's crazy.
50-yard line. And if finally someone got, after I don't even know, maybe July of 2016 or 17, I don't know exactly when, somewhere in that time, no more 50, 25 and in.
Yeah.
Because where is the action happening? The action's happening, 5 to 7 feet away. Majority of gunfights, 5 to 7 feet away. And we're back there banging I forget the course of fire when we went from a 100-round course of fire down to a 50 course of fire. And I think it was 10 at 100, then it went down to 50 and went down to 5. It's basically you go to the range instructor and say, here's my 5 rounds in a 50. Just take them. I'm going to ding them off the target anyway. I'm going to hit the paper. I'm going to hit them, So it's here's my 5. I'm down 5 already, It's oh, great. I'm down 10 points, So,
yeah, the handgun wasn't designed for 50 yards. We'll shoot back to the 25, but it's just part of training. It's not part of the official qual. And I know some states, like a lot of, it seems like a lot of state police departments will go back to the 25. And I don't know if that is because, like you were saying, they're on the road alone a lot, and maybe they need to be able to hunker down and get some long rounds off. I don't know the strategy, but yeah, people have enough trouble at 45 feet, 25 yards, 50 yards. It's a disaster.
What does a mass trooper carry up there? I don't even know what they carry. They probably have some type of heavy, 223 or 5.56 in their car these days. I'm sure you do as well.
Yeah,
we have your cruise room.
We have we carry M4s, and we have Glock's Model 45s, which is just like a 19 and a 17 put together. And I think the state police in Mass carry a SIG P320, and they also, the state's so big, they're always way behind. So we had rifles and all these upgrades years before they did. They only had maybe a handful of their cars had rifles, and now they all have them because there's over 2,000 troopers. So to make that kind of purchase, it's like steering a battleship. They're like, all right, we need all this.
Sure.
We need $1 million to upgrade our rifles, and it takes a long time. But they're pretty much well outfitted now.
Cool.
Yeah, they're good to go.
Right. Yep. Yes.
Jack, can you take us the way back machine here to when you started 32 years ago? Can you think of the first investigation or case or call that gave you an adrenaline dump or, spit up the heart a little bit?
Well, the one that comes to mind, and it'll be when I got out of the academy, I came back to my office of hire, which was the Allentown resident office. I hired onto the Allentown resident office. And one particular day, we're in the office, and we are in the midst of supporting the other alphabets in the area, plus a lot of the state and locals. So that particular day, we get a call from the Pennsylvania State Police, from the Bethlehem Barracks. They had an undercover going to, negotiate for a kilo of cocaine. So the undercover, basically what he ended up doing was something that you really don't want to do. And they'll never badmouth another officer or their decision. But when you're in an undercover role, you never want to come out of undercover role until it's all safe and sound. Boom. Okay. So when the trooper meets the bad guy, the trooper sees that the bad guy's got the key. So in the sport utility vehicle the bad guy's driving, he's like, well, go get your money. Well, the trooper says, 10, weapon, you're under arrest. Well, that person didn't think it was funny. He didn't believe him. He's like, wait a minute, you're negotiating dope with me, and then all of a sudden you want to arrest me? I think you're going to try to rip me off. That's what I'm sure the bad guy's thinking. I just think you're trying to rip me off. So what happens was the bad guy backs out, tries to flee the location. Trooper gets up on the side of the sport utility, and as he does, the trooper ends up letting a round go. Bang, a 45 in the guy's thigh. I think it was his left thigh. Boom, blows it up. Well, as the vehicle's coming, the trooper gets knocked off the car. Myself and a senior trooper undercover, Monte Carlo. All right, now here's the heartbeat going. Okay, I mean, a young agent from the academy. This isn't down in Quantico. We're playing for real now. This is not make believe. So we're blown in with the little round light going on. We're coming in. I guess they used to call them the Kojak lights. So we're coming in. My heart's going like, oh my God, we're coming nose to nose with this sport utility. I'm out of the academy maybe a month, Steve. Out of about a month. And we're coming in for a major federal felony arrest, felony vehicle stop. So the trooper was an old timer, plain clothes, of course, Monte Carlo. We come nose to nose. At Monte, we got the car stopped. Here's the funny part. I go and try to Miami Vice it. I go and try to kick that big Monte Carlo door. That Monte Carlo door came back, hit me, knocked me right across the front seat of the car. I had my 6 hour in my freaking hand. The trooper's looking at me, yelling at me, going, what are you doing? What are you doing? Let's go. So I'm like, okay. Hit the door. He goes, let's go. So we come roll up on the car. We get the bad guy out. We put him on the deck, on the ground, cuff him. And I notice this pool of blood. And I think to myself, what did I get myself into here?
Yeah.
Here we got an individual just got shot. I'm in a shooting. I almost got killed by the Monte Carlo door. Maybe I should be on the field coaching receivers and safeties like I was doing a couple months ago. So that particular one got me thinking like, wow, this is for real. This stuff is actually for real. And the trooper was fine. He was fine. He rolled off and we actually became friends. He ended up going on to be with the FBI, which was kind of cool. So he knew lessons learned. No, can't do that. So the trooper, I remember he was, I don't know what he was thinking about what I did or how I did it, but I said to him, listen, I'm new to this and I'm trying to figure this out. And he wasn't a smart guy. He didn't think that, berate me or anything. But then what happens is once that round is fired, all the agencies have to investigate it.
Sure.
So I'm answering questions to the Pennsylvania State Police. I'm answering questions to our people, DEA, because then the case files grow. So everything was covered properly. And once my statement was given, I was fine. But that was my first real, like, wow, what did I get myself into here? Within a month, I'm in a shooting.
Yeah.
And that was like in 1980, 88, just into 89. And it was like, whoa, it made all the news. It made the news. Great.
Yeah, and then that, I mean, you probably when you afterwards when it was all over, you were probably pumped about it, excited.
Oh yeah. I mean, once that calms down, I mean, you know, the adrenaline goes away. You eat a Snickers bar to get your sugar right, or drink some orange juice, whatever. But um, I didn't know what to take from that, Steve. I didn't know how to take from that because here we came in, we affected to stop in the front. Why were we in the front? Well, because we had the surveillance and we can see the deal going down. We were calling it out of what was happening, so we were the first kind of on the scene. And then cars came up from behind, so we were watching any crossfires. But I'm just grateful for my training that I didn't have my finger on the trigger. Door hits me. If I had the finger on the trigger, door hits me, boom! Now I have an accidental discharge going through the windshield. No, finger off trigger, move. But the only thing that stopped me from moving was that freaking big door that knocked me on my can. You know, right across the street. I'm right across the seat. So yeah,
Man, that's awesome. Did the guy? Did you guys have to render aid to him? Do you have to give him a tourniquet or something? Or you probably didn't even carry tourniquets back then.
No, I mean, we honestly, I mean, our role was to secure the defendant. Okay, so we secured the defendant. Back then, now you got a lot of these guys, agent personnel are trauma trained in the use of medical attention. We were not EMTs. We were not. Matter of fact, the senior agent on the ground with me, he climbed me up and pulled me by my shoulder and says, "Come here, just back off, just back off." You know, and there was a guy laying on the ground and he's bleeding. Now I don't know if it hit the frame roll or anything, but they had units on there immediately, and they ended up taking him into I guess surgery to get it taken care of. But for the 45, as you know, you hit somebody in the right spot, that's gonna blow a leg up or blow anything up. So especially if it through and through, if it's a through and through, which it was. So
That's a big round.
it is, and it's a heavy round. And you think about a 40 caliber going bang, you know. So, but yeah, it was quite interesting, and it was something like I said. I thought about it and I said, man, what did I get myself into here? So I had to, at the age of 24, almost 25, you know, you and I, as young guys, you can shake things off. You know, you shake
Yeah.
those 18 to 21, 22 years going to combat. You know, they're talking about going to get a pizza or talking about going to play PlayStation. Oh, excuse my mouth, but they're going to talk about some other type of video game. But yeah, it was interesting. It was definitely interesting.
Yeah, and that's why I mean the Army recruits 18-year-olds, 18 to 20, because that's when when you get over 25, you really start taking the score of life and going, I could have been killed, or I'm not going to live forever. You know what I mean? But when you're 18 to 20, it's kind of like, let's do this. And then you don't even think about, I could have died, you know?
You're absolutely right. I mean, I'm sure you had friends on the job, or you know somebody that's got a gunfight, or even a knife attack, or a baton attack, or whatever, some type of weapon, and they get pummeled, and it's like, wow, I just took a shot in the head here, and I'm like, what the hell, what am I doing here? You know, this guy's out of his mind. Or, you know, why? And people love to say, you know, why did you have to shoot to kill? Why couldn't you just shoot the weapon out of his hand? I said, this is not trick shooting, man. We stopped it. We stopped that to stop the threat. You got to stop the threat. I will allow anyone to come out and put a dummy out there with a 9mm in their right hand and say, okay, now from 7 yards, I want you to shoot that handgun out of their hand before they fire a weapon.
Yeah.
Not gonna happen.
People are still saying that too. I mean, you got to understand, you got to put yourself in the cops or agent's shoes, especially when you're alone. If the guy has any kind of weapon, or is even just much bigger and more skilled at fighting than you, it can so quickly go the other way, and you can be so quickly done. And we're loaded up like a Christmas tree with weapons. They can pick off our body. All that is going through your head when you're directly confronted with somebody, especially when you're alone. You're like, I have to end this in quickly. So never mind hand to hand. If they have even any kind of weapon, most times you're going to your gun, because that's fair. Why is it fair to let this guy have a chance to get the upper hand on me, someone who's doing the right thing? No, it isn't. He's the one who chose that situation, and he's going to get a hole poked in him. That's just the way it goes down, because we have to go home. The bad guys don't.
Sure. I mean, that's a very good point. I mean, everyone talks about escalation of force. I mean, I testified on many behalves on escalation of force. You know, your mere presence to verbal commands to, is it a compliant defendant to a non-compliant defendant? You're going to bring the baton in, or you're going to bring the capstone, you're going to bring now they have, of course, the tasers, which I don't know how effective they are. But yet, so now what's your next thing? handgun. After that, shotgun. What's after that? Boom, automatic rifle. I mean, so there's your escalation of force, but you don't have time to do that. You have to make a decision to say, no, he has 9mm in hand. I must go with 9mm gun. Untouchables, movie and Untouchables. Okay, so there you are, right? They're doing their thing, and don't ever bring a knife to a gunfight.
Right.
Okay, don't ever bring an ass baton to a gunfight. You better go for your gun. So think about that. And here's one interesting point I'd like to point out to you, if you don't mind, Steve, and to your audience, is that think about this. We go out there, law enforcement officers would go out there, and maybe in an 8, 10, 12-hour shift, you're going to go and you're going to make so many decisions in that period of time. And in that particular time, you have to make 10 out of 10 calls perfectly. Major League Baseball player gets up 10 times for at bat. He hits 3 balls. He's a Hall of Famer.
Right.
If we got 3 out of 10, you and I would be sitting, in the typing pool, filing documents, filing papers.
Right.
You got to do it every time correct. Every time. And that's not easy. It's not easy, man. Stressful.
Yeah, it's a lot of pressure. Yeah, that's and cops are the worst too. Monday morning quarterbacking each other. And we're the ones that know that in the moment when you're doing the thing, and then you have the arrest, and then you're up, then you get held over to 3 a.m. to do the report. And it's like, then someone reads your report and goes, oh, geez, you could have added this or you missed this. And it's like, well, yeah, brother, I was friggin' toasted. And I've been, it's like, give me a break.
Yeah, we call that red inking. You gotta love the guys that love the red ink, or the gals that red ink. I'm like going, were you there? I didn't see you there. Were you there? Did that really happen?
Right.
And then no red ink, and it's like, don't you dare red ink me, because this is a report that I have to testify to. What I recall, how I remember it. You weren't there, so don't do that. And you're on your same side of the aisle. Don't let that handle the other side of the aisle is going to question you about it. So in regard to that, it's something that, and you're trained. I believe in training. I mean, when I was in Quantico, maybe I'm getting a little ahead of myself here, but I believed in repeating. And I'm sure the students said, oh my goodness, here he goes. He's repeating again. Because you know why I repeat? Because it's going to stick in your head. That's why you're going to remember it.
Absolutely.
That was my father, the same way. When he was coaching, repeat, run the same play, run it again. And they were successful, So
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's just like training with your weapons. Takes like 1,000 reps to get it down. So that as a firearms guy, everybody's annoyed by the firearms instructor. You get new duty holsters and a new gun, and you tell the guys, take it home before range day and do as many draws as you can. Yeah. Nobody does it, and they show up with the new holster and they're like, they can't get it out. And you're like, guys, that's why I told you to do this. We wouldn't be sitting here on the line, me waiting for you to, pull your gun out. This is crazy.
Yes. There was just something on LinkedIn. I feel bad about this, but one particular individual, an IRS, criminal investigative division, CID, they call them, criminal investigative divisions for IRS, special agent. This goes back, it's about 2 years ago. They were on a range out in Phoenix. He was killed on range day, training day, by another individual on the range.
Yeah.
Shot. I don't know if it was an accidental discharge. Was the one fellow too far forward than the other fellow was? I don't know. On movement of shoot and move, shoot and scoot, and he was killed. I just saw it yesterday on LinkedIn. I said, man, I'm going to try to bring that up with Steve if we're talking about firearms and gun weapons and that. And he was killed because of that on training. And you're thinking to yourself, I'm going to go to training. Today's qualification day. It's 2 hours and we're done for the day. We got to go home. It's an easy day, right? He didn't make it home. He didn't make it home from training.
Yeah, it's terrible. And unfortunately, too, a lot of those times it's firearms instructors shoot themselves a lot because they're complacent, and they, it gets at you when the guys are always like, you'll have a 4-hour, 8-hour training block, and they'll be like, Steve, we're getting out of here in a couple hours, right? Or we're not staying. We're not really staying past lunch, right? Like that type of thing.
Come on, hey, hook us up, bro. Let's go for a long lunch. Come on.
Right, and it gets into your head, and you're like, oh, nobody wants to be here. So, my old agency, I used to work with, I had a partner for firearms training, and that's good because strength in numbers. If you're both staying strong and kind of repelling, it's a lot easier. But yeah, man.
That's
Jack,
funny.
Can you describe a strange or bizarre thing you dealt with?
All right, Philadelphia. We're affecting a federal arrest warrant. and in Philadelphia, North Philadelphia, very tough location, just near Temple University. And it wasn't my case. We were in the back. We were covering the back. Okay, so when we're covering the back, it was an open backyard. What I mean by that, it was an alleyway. There was a grassy area, and there was a back door, roof, and then up above the roof were two windows. Now it's an older home. Now, mind you, Philadelphia's got a lot of older homes. So the team that's going to go in, about six personnel team that's going to come to the front, the raid team, entry team, arrest team. We hear them go, DEA arrest warrant, bang. We knew they were going in. We hear the bang with the breacher hitting the door, the ram hitting the door. They're in. Glass is breaking. He was a baddie. There's no doubt about it. He was a coke kilo. He was a kilo slinger up there in North Philly. So my partner and I were doing our thing. We're covering the back. So you think, okay, covering the back, blase, yeah, they're gonna get the guy inside, whatever. Steve, we're standing there and we're watching the back door. All of a sudden we hear this. We look up. This dude went right through the window, hit the low roof, hit the ground, and ran right by us. I look at my partner I'm with. He's a wheelman. He's a very good driver. He loves to do donuts and spins out, with the government car.
Hell yeah.
I said, I'll call him, Bill. Bill, oh boy, here we go. I get in the car, radio. This guy is running down south on 6th Street. And we're freaking following this guy. And this guy is dumb enough not to move to the pavement. He stays on the street. So guess what we do? Work smart, not hard. So we're in the car. I said to Bill, okay, a little slower. Bang! I hit him with the freaking door, knocked him off his pins.
Nice.
Got out of the car and just locked him up. And not a scratch on the dude. We still had to take him to Temple Trauma to get him checked because if he busted his head or whatever.
Sure.
Not a scratch. You and I, we would have glass in our face, glass in our carotid, all over, and it was just like he just went right through it. Now, mind you, it was a window with a wooden pane in the middle, like a wooden, up and down kind of slot, but he crashed right through it. You talk about a movie Hollywood scene. No, man, this was real. And that was probably one of the weirdest things I saw in Philadelphia. I mean, it was like he didn't even, like when we cuffed him, he was like, I said, you okay? He goes, oh, I'm good. And I'll just say, and he cuts and he goes, no, I'm good. He goes, I said, okay, well, you're going in. And he goes, okay. But one of the craziest things, and because, and a lot of times we don't do the traffic stops like you guys. God bless you guys and gals. Please be safe doing that. Yeah, we teach it, but it's very, very rare that we end up doing it. So you're out there. Don't ever get complacent. We got a sense of complacency. We got reprimanded for that because we should have stopped the guy as soon as he came out that window. We should have had him. And the fellow I was with was a former college D1 baseball player and very fast dude. And I could, I tried it. I'm a 4.75 guy back in the day, 40. I'm not a 4.4, 4.5 guy, but he was like, we got called in on it.
No kidding.
What we do? What was your positioning? You should know better than that. I'm like, oh man, dude, I'm like, Jesus Christ, fine, but we got the guy. He's safe and sound. It was good. Everyone's good. So, but yeah, I learned from
crazy.
that.
I mean, that guy must have been using his own product if he pulled a maneuver like that and he was totally fine.
He was. I think this was, if that I'm right, he might have been a 3-striker, and that's why he was running, man. He was going, and the feds were coming for him. Everyone knows the DEA, baby. DEA on the front and back. We're coming in, the DEA. And it's like, these aren't coming for these aren't Philadelphia PD guys. These are feds coming for us. And we had great respect. I mean, the guys, I tell you, the crooks up there in North Philly, they had a lot of respect for DEA back in the late 80s when I was there in the 90s, because we were there for that crack cocaine epidemic, and we were knocking the heck out of them, man. The heck out of them. But that was probably one of the craziest things I saw, besides other things like stupid things, but agents fighting agents or whatever like that, or and I got it crazy stuff, but it's true. So
yeah, I mean, and the feds too, when they grab you, like, it seems like when you get charged federally, you do actually end up going to jail.
Oh, definitely.
Unlike these soft local blue state courts that are like, everybody gets 30 slaps on the wrist. The flip side of that is we don't get people jumping out of windows when you raid a house because they don't really care, because they know they're going to go see the judge and get a little slap on the wrist. But when the feds come, I mean, I remember my back in the day, my dad's police department, the chief secretary was the sweetest lady. Like, I used to go in there when I was a kid. She'd give me a lollipop and pat me on the head, and so nice. But it turns out she was also the secretary for like the police association, and she was taking money from the police association because she was hard up, and so she would take it and pay it back. But then, you know, it gets to the point where you take too much and you can't pay back, and then you just take. So it's take. She ended up getting charged federally and doing like 8 years in prison for that, for like a public trust. I don't know what the federal charge was, but it sent shockwaves. And I'm sure that's the point. It was like, because it's a public trust thing. So you emptied out like a benevolent association, you're going to federal prison.
Was that FBI got her? FBI?
I was young. I was like a teenager in high school, but I mean, especially because they're not going to investigate themselves. So probably the state and the feds came in and looked at it, and they looked at the charges and said, well, let's go with the federal ones. And yeah, man, I mean, everybody in town was like, whoa, she's going to prison for 8 years. Oh my God, she's going to die.
The federal hammer comes in, man. That was the guideline. The federal hammer comes in, especially, I'll take it back. I know I just mentioned it earlier. You take it back to the crack cocaine wars. I mean, you catch a gangster out there with a minimal amount of crack, and they're looking at like 5 years minimum mandatory in federal prison. I mean,
crazy.
I mean, I forget the actual amounts per se, but it was not a lot. It was not, because it was such a epidemic, and they were slinging it out there. You know, we did investigations in Allentown. We did them, of course, in Philadelphia. But then by the 2000, it kind of softened a little bit. With the crack cocaine wars. And I don't really think it is even existing. Maybe some mom and pop locations it does, but not like it used to.
Yeah. Yeah, it is so different, the federal law. Like we had my old agency, we had a bunch of national park lands. So we had national park rangers. And they had, like, for their OUIs on park lands, it was catch and release. So they would bring them to our police department and book them, and then they'd had no right to hold them for OUI. We were always like, what? So, and then because Cape Cod's kind of remote, they held their federal magistrate hearings in the basement of the post office in Hyannis.
Oh my God.
So the federal magistrate would come down from Boston, and the Rangers would go to the basement of the post office where he had a little office. It was like, it was so not like what you imagine with the feds. We're like, why are you going to, they're like, yeah, it's, you know, a couple of days a week, the magistrate comes down, we go bring him to the basement in the post office.
Oh my God. That's funny.
Yeah, it was really neat to be involved with it, because it was so different. Like on their parklands, I've said this a million times, I'm sure I'm going to get messages like, oh, you already told the story, Steve. But the federal park rangers on park lands, which are also town roads, they can order you out of the vehicle and look in your vehicle like with a much lower bar than we needed. But then they would follow cars onto state highways and town solely owned roads and do the same thing. And we would be like, hey, be careful. You're wearing your, because we would swear them in.
Yes.
You're wearing your police hat right now. So you can't just search people in the car because you're not on park property.
Sure.
So it was a very fluid and dynamic situation, but it was really fun working with them. They had all kinds of different powers.
Stepping over their lines, their responsibility a little bit. They got to be careful with that, especially when it goes to the courts. And you're right about that. That's a very good point. That's a very, very good point.
Yeah, Mass isn't like super friendly to feds either. Like, I big surprise, right? But a lot of the southern and western states just award peace officer status to federal agents because they're cops, right? So it makes sense. In Mass, like I went to a Christmas party with a new FBI agent, and he was like, my supervising agent said, I can't really get involved off duty unless it's like a felony in my presence. Or there were these rules that he had to follow unless he was on business hours. And it was like, business hours, you're a cop, like you're 24 hours a day type of deal. So anything serious, of course, he could intervene and help. But he said, yeah, there's these weird rules where I can't, when I'm here in Massachusetts, there's certain things I can't do. I'm like, that makes no sense to me.
No sense. no sense whatsoever. But you're absolutely right about that. But the whole thing is, I hope that particular one I picked out of my brain. I mean, there's so many others.
No, it was
But
great, dude.
that one is just like something that's like a little bit of a lesson learned there too. Not only because of we safely got the dude, but yet maybe we could have done it a little better. We learn from mistakes, lessons learned kind of action. And that's the greatest thing. If you're going to tell me I did something wrong, I want to know how I can correct this and make it right. And that was particular. And we sat down and we Monday morning, like you said, Monday morning quarterback.
Little
debriefing. What's the boy, I used to love those words, debriefing. Oh my God. Yeah. Let's debrief this. Okay.
Little counseling.
Yeah, a little counseling. Just don't put it on paper, my OPF, my official personnel file. Just don't do that, okay? Please don't.
That's a new thing they do now, and I've seen in I don't know if it's just mass, but it's all I know. And they'll do you're getting a verbal counseling, but it will be written down in your file.
Yeah,
like, wait, a verbal written? Like, yeah, there's no verbal anymore. It's like it's verbal, but we write it down.
Please, don't be putting a laundry list together on me. Don't be putting a case on me. Thank you very much.
Right. Jack, can you tell us about your most intense or terrifying moment on the job you can think of?
All right, Philadelphia. Here we go. Philadelphia. This one has stuck in my head for a long time, and I'm good. I'm well over it. But working undercover. You see, for one of the first times I'm out undercover, and how can I put this? We were working an investigation with another office, and basically we had a confidential informant. We went to meet a bad guy up in North Philadelphia, and we were going to do a 1 kilo undercover purchase for $25,000. So we roll up there, meet the bad guy. Bad guy goes to where he's supposed to pick the package. He's followed. We got the location where he is. And the bad guy then comes back. Where am I at the time? I am sitting in the car with a confidential informant by the bad guy's residence. He goes, trips for the package. He walks, gets the package, comes back, goes back into the house. He comes back out with the bag. Thinking, okay, cool. We're gonna get a kilo here. Kilo, no problem. Negotiated price for the kilo was $25,000. Uncle Sam's money. So as I come out of the car, leave the CS, sit in the car, I come out of the car, meet the guy in the street. Now I'm being covered. I'm covered all which way. Up the street, down the street, around the block, I'm covered. But you got to remember, this is like around 1990, 91. And yes, I'm recording. I have what we used to call a kell. Remember the kells? You listen to the monitoring and what's going on so you can come in for the arrest scenario. So I'm standing there talking to the fella. Did you bring it? Yeah, I brought it. Okay. Did you bring the money? Yeah, I brought the money. So I go and I pop the trunk. As I pop the trunk of the car, I feel this boom, 38 snub nose in my ribs. So I'm a young guy. I'm a young agent. My cover story is I'm a grad student at the University of Penn, Ivy Leaguer. I have cover that way. I'm slinging dope all over the campuses, Drexel and Penn and LaSalle and all that stuff, making money. So he ends up hitting me with a 38 snub nose in the ribs. $25,000 is in the trunk of the car. Bad move. We learned from a lesson. We learned that. Don't ever bring the money to the location, to the set. Flash it, move it on. Well, you're talking like I said, 1991. Back then, we didn't think these things through. We did. Now, of course, we did. So as he puts the weapon in my ribs, what do, Steve? I go back to my training. Bam, hands up. Hands up like field goal posts. That's a danger signal, we called. Well, let me tell you something, and I said this before and others. You want to hear some foot down the street, car. I'll never forget Howard and his vet with a gal named Nancy, awesome ages. They blow around the corner, wrong way, one-way street. This guy hears the noise, sees the noise, what's going on. He beelines it right for his front door. Well, in Philadelphia, same with Boston and that, you have like maybe 3 steps, but there's no porch, like 3 steps like this. They call it a stoop to get in the front door. Well, about 3 of the guys that were running down the street just cleaned his clock, took him out. Perfect hit. Boom, nice. Nailed him. And secured him, took him in. As I moved myself back to get cover behind the car, my boss came down and threw me in the car because he gets me off the location. We just need the confidential informant sitting in the car, yeah, whatever, so get the agent out of here, get the agent out. So They end up doing it. They cuff him up. Now, here's the funny part. When the arresting agents were standing him up. And he says, it's now end of August because it was preseason football. I believe that night, it was like a Monday night or something. The Eagles were playing the Dolphins at the Vet. Veterans Stadium is no longer there.
The Birds.
Vet. The Birds. Go Eagles, baby. He says to the arresting agents, he says, well, I guess I won't be watching Eagles tonight.
So he knew the game.
Yeah, he didn't care. So not one key, and they went into a search. Inside the location, they got a second kilo. Went around the block, hit the location where the garage was. No dope found. No dope found inside there. But they did a search. But we ended up getting 2 keys. I was safely off the location. Recovered handgun. He would not cooperate. He did not cooperate. He went stone cold. He would not cooperate. And with that going non-cooperational, he still got 5 on me for threatening a federal agent, and then having 2 keys was a 10-year minimum mandatory. He had like about 15 years, and he ate the charges. He ate the charges, man.
Wow, I wonder if he was real.
Yeah.
Maybe his supplier was a scary dude.
Yeah, I'm sure he was. And the thing is this, or he was afraid of his wife, and he didn't want to freaking give her money back to the wife. He owed money to the wife or something, and he disappeared. But it's the truth, though. He ate it, and I don't know how, I don't know if the crook. He eventually, actually, the guys from the auto body shop there, they were brought in on conspiratorial charges. We did conspire, but I don't think the charges stuck on them. But I can't remember that one, but I think we had enough to get in, exigent circumstances, get inside the location, go for warrant, telephonic warrant, approval by the magistrate, and then they searched, but nothing. So either that guy had 2 to give him, and then this guy in the auto body shop owed somebody for the 2. They're all intertwined, man, all compartmentalizing, and they're all intertwined. So, and that one shook me up. And I will say this, Steve, if that happened to me in my 40s, I probably would have asked to, I need some time here. But when you're in your 20s, you think you're superhuman. Bring it on, man. What we got next? And my boss kept saying, are you okay? Are you okay? Because he was in his 40s at the time. He goes, you okay? Do you want to do anything? I said, no, Rick. I said, I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm good. And what a wonderful boss he was, man. A Boston guy. He was
Nice.
down in Philly. He was amazing. And he was just awesome. I spoke to him about a couple of weeks ago. We keep in touch, and we laugh about some of the stories. But that particular day, we weren't laughing because of something could have happened.
Yeah, you still think about that, I bet.
Oh, yeah, sure. I mean, you get some guy and the guy goes, not today, kid. I remember he says, not today, kid. And I said, what? And bang, I feel this thing, and I'm like, oh, shoot. And I'm like, bang. I'm like, there you go, man. There you go. There you go.
Yeah, I would just think about like, what would that have done to my kidney? That just.
Yeah. Or just a 38 or cracked the ribs and tore across. Yeah. I mean, I don't even want to think about that, but it was successful. But he did eat the charges, and it was like, okay, dude.
Well, you gotta in a weird way, you gotta respect it. Like, all right,
yeah, sure. I mean, he would not give it up. I think he was just fearful that if he gave any information up, and law enforcement knows out there, the guys and the gals that are listening to it that's been in it, he was probably thinking, man, if I give this up, they're gonna burn my house down, they're gonna kill my wife or kid or whatever. But no, he said, let's do it. I'm not doing it. So, okay.
All right. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Yeah, bye. Yeah. Exactly. Wow.
Jack.
Yes, sir.
Do you have a positive situation? Heartwarming, dare I say?
Yeah. Yeah. On the island of St. Croix. When I was a resident agent in charge down there.
My favorite fishing rod.
Yeah, I tell you, man, everyone thinks when I talk about being stationed down there as the resident agent in charge, I had about 19 personnel down there, a ton of weapon carriers. It was a high-intensity drug trafficking area task force group in the cocaine corridor. And the Caribbean division is a very vast division. It's a huge, it goes from Freeport, Bahamas, all the way west of the Caymans, all the way south to the Aruba, Bonaire, and Curacao, Trinidad and Tobago, right up the coast of Venezuela and Colombia. It's a huge division, a lot of water, and you got to get around on plane or boat. There's no doubt about it. So that respect, it was quite entertaining. If you could do an investigation, if you can make a case in the Caribbean, you can make a case anywhere in continental United States.
Hmm.
Okay, you really can, because people are saying, well, it's probably the part of the coke's falling out of the sky, it's falling off the boats. Well, that's true, but a lot of times you can't pin it on anybody. You might find a bale in the water that's 50 50 keys of coke, and it washes up on the shore, and you have to take it as abandoned contraband. So, but everyone knows you. You had to work around it.
It's small there.
So it's just so small, but you have to work around it. So on top of that, we had a situation where you have a place on the west end of the island. Okay, so if you picture St. Croix, 28 miles east and west, 7 miles north and south, 50,000 population, about 100 murders a year committed on the island. Very violent, very violent. So these two, as a couple, comes out of the airport. They, instead of going right to the good part of the island, they went left. Not a good thing. They got caught in a place called, I'll call it out, it's called Campo Rico. Okay, Campo Rico's on the west end of the island. It was old Kwanzaa huts. It was an old military base out there during World War II. They used to bring the fighter pilots out there to practice how to land planes during World War II, the Marines and the Navy personnel, when they go to the Pacific Theater in World War II against the Japanese. So these huts were still there, but they were homes. They built them into homes, like apartments. Very, very rough. You can't go in there by yourself. You have to go in there as a team. So these two get lost in there, and they robbed them, and they beat them, and it was not a good thing for tourism.
Yeah.
So the commissioner and the chief stepped to me, and then got the other head of the FBI, Mike, and Conrad, the marshal, and we got together for a meeting, and he says, we have to shake this up because of this can't be going on. So we're like, okay. So what we did was, one particular day, we organized a game plan, and we brought in the troops. I mean, you talk about the alphabets coming in. We had air units, we had outside perimeter, interior perimeter, and we had the assaulters going in. And man, we shook that place up. Now, mind you, we had the intelligence on locations, what to hit, search warrants, what bad guys need to go. We're going to catch them dirty. They're going to be handling either a knife on them, or a gun on them, or dope on them, or something. And we did. We ended up getting lucky. I said lucky. Our investigative intelligence paid off. But we went in there like a freaking 1st Marine Division, hitting the beaches, man, of Iwo Jima. And we went in, and it was successful. And when we took away the crooks, the crime rate softened. And we were getting phone calls for weeks afterwards. Thank you very much.
I bet.
DEA for doing this. Thank you very much. We'd roll in there just for sometimes we'd take like 6 of us or 10 of us. We'd roll in there just to walk around with our vests on, just to say like, hey man, we're still here. We're not, if it was a down day, I said, let's vest up and let's go out and see camera. Let's go out and see what Campo Rico's doing. See if we get lucky on something, and then we go out there, we tour around, and people be like, thank you. From that one action, that place changed.
That's incredible.
But when you did that to the people from that came on the island, it wasn't good. So, but we did good. That's heartwarming, because when you're telling these people, they don't have a lot on the island. A lot of people, they don't have a lot of stuff on the islands. And when they come out and you try to help them out, they're your people then, man. They used to call us the Uncle Sam's boys, the Continentalers. They used to call us Uncle Sam's boys, the Continentalers.
That's awesome.
Like, yeah, okay, man. Yep. Thank you, Uncle Sam's boys and girls. Thank you, Uncle Sam's boys and girls.
Yeah.
Like, okay. Yeah, man, that's cool.
That's cool, man. I love it. Yeah, you know what? The local people, we always talk about on the show, there's so many good people just living in bad areas. And, you could see it when that whole BLM thing was exploding. And some reporters went into black neighborhoods and they were talking about it. And, they weren't getting the answers they wanted. A lot of the black people that live in these neighborhoods are like, I had 2 kids killed by gangs. I want more. We don't see the police enough. We want more police.
Yeah,
of course,
you're absolutely right.
Those only make it on the conservative, web pages and stuff. They don't put those on the news. Yep.
I think you need, when you have a mission like that, you have to have knowledge. You have to have intelligence that's going to be effective, so you can go in there and do things to them. Vehicle stops, a surveillance, to see any type of, hand to hands. We of course, we don't really work that a lot. We are more organizing dismantling the international or domestic organizations, drug organizations. But yet sometimes you have to go out there and you got to shake the bushes. You got to shake the trees a little bit sometimes and get them on their heels. And I think that sends a message to people. And I know down there it was an effective message, and in the end, it was very heartwarming, and we got the calls, and we got kind of knocked them down a peg or two. Absolutely.
What was the local police force like there? Were they involved in that?
That's a great question.
Unreliable, maybe?
I can't speak enough because about the Virgin Islands Police Department. Yes, you're gonna have your baddies. You're gonna have them. Corruption, yes. Did we arrest them on my tenure down there for 4 years? Yes, we arrested several of them. Absolutely. Why? Because they get a side hustle going and they're still wearing the uniform. I mean, it's one of those things that yes, you're gonna have dirt anywhere, and you have to get that you have to sweep that dirt out. We had to be very careful that some of the guys on the VIPD, yeah, were not favorable to the feds. We had to be careful what we said. Actually, it came to a point later on in my tour down there that my guys had to carry recorders in their cars if and when they're stopped because they knew our cars, the trucks and the sport utilities you're driving down there. So when they would walk up to a car, I would tell the guys, have the recorder up on their sun visor, click it as they walk up, so they're not trying to harass them or muscle them. But it's not every one of them. It was just
Right.
a couple. I mean, I don't know the personnel. Believe it or not, I was just talking to the chief last night. He now lives up north in there in one of the states up north, but he was down there for a number of years. He was the chief in the Virgin Islands Police Department. You have the chief of police for St. Croix and the chief of police for St. Thomas and St. John. Then you have a police commissioner who was when I was there was on St. Croix, and we had a wonderful relationship with them. I mean, we ended up stepping up what we call a street enforcement team, a set team for them, a set. I ended up training them, getting them equipment. Back in the day, this is going back. You're talking like from 2001 to 2004, 4 years down there. But yeah, you had to be very careful of who you're going to invite to the party, and you kind of knew who was working both sides and the person's still in the job because they haven't got enough information yet to charge the person. Um, but other than that, if I needed something, I call the commissioner, call the chief, say my counterpart Charlie over in St. Thomas. What do you want? You want 20 uniforms standing tall tomorrow morning? You got it. I said, I want the good ones. I want the good ones.
Right.
I want the good ones. So
Yeah.
and they'd be there and they'd be rocking and ready to rock and roll. But yeah.
That's great, man. Yeah,
Yeah.
I know I've heard of like some of the some cities and towns in South America where they like lay off part of the police department because the government ran out of money, and then they hire them back, and then like that creates this like, well, now they have no money, so they go to work for somebody else, who knows who, and then that person goes, oh no, I'm still going to pay you, but you're going to go back to the police department when they hire you
Yes,
back.
exactly. Yeah.
And so
they're
it's
gonna have
like
a rat. Yeah.
they don't offer
Work hard.
stability, so these guys they got to provide for their families, and they end up going to the dark side.
Yeah, they have a rat den inside with the good guys, and then you have to
Right.
sneak it out. But what was good about down there, you knew because it was small enough, and then personnel size.
Probably knew the
as I
families.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you couldn't take them territorial court. We had to take them federal court so that then when they get sentenced, bang, they're off the rock. And a lot of times we work with other jurisdictions or other offices in colonies, continental United States offices, so that we can get them off St. Croix, come down, say Atlanta division, secure their arrest, secure their warrant, come on down. We'll go get the person and get them off the island, get them out of here, and then take them to trial up there in Cones. And we used to always say to the bad guys, listen, you're going to go to a state, forget about spelling the name of the state. You can't even pronounce the name of the state, like Minnesota. That's where you're going. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
and it'd be like, no, what do you want? What do you want to know? What do you want to know? How do I stay here? Because a lot of times if we came in and arrested them, they thought they're going to go to territorial prison on the same rock. Nope. You're going
Yeah,
out.
you're
of
like
here.
basically
you're
going to
you're
another
going to Red
planet.
Onion in you're going to Red Onion in Southwest Virginia, and you're going to
Yeah.
hang out there for a bit. So it was
That's pretty
it was a
scary.
dance, Steve. It was a dance. It was a dance for those that serve down there. I take my hats off. Those that are serving and that will serve down there. It is a treat, man. It is a it is a rock and roll show. There's no doubt about it. There's no
Yeah,
doubt.
so-
And if you're not rock and rolling, you're not doing your job down there. Everyone thinks, oh, you're laying on the beach. Yeah, in downtime, absolutely. I'm a water rat. I love the water. I mean, I just got done swimming before I came. So my hair's all freaking screwed up right now. I'm trying to comb my hair, and I was in the water, and hurry up, I gotta get to Steve. I gotta go talk to Steve and that. So, but yeah, other than that, it was a rock and roll show. I wouldn't change it for the world. The guys and gals that I worked with, I can go down the list of names, and they never complained. They were like, I don't care if it was, we just worked 36 hours straight. They'd be like, go take a nap in the conference room or whatever. And I remember the chief who ended up being was my task force officer. He got up to the rank of chief. He got up to for the Virgin Islands on St. Croix. Wonderful guy. Heck of an investigator. I mean, I can go into investigations for another time. We were talking about several of them called Olympia Casa, Operation Triumphant, Operation Beach Party, Operation Tinfoil, just destroying them.
Yeah.
So
We
much
should
that they
do another episode on it, brother.
I'm sorry. I know you want to get to things, but please, I apologize. You know what they say, give a Mick a mic. You know, I can talk.
You're talking to a Mick. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Exactly. There you go. You're a good man, Steve.
No,
Good man.
I love it, Jack. It's awesome. And I mean that too. If you want to have a second appearance, we talk about in-depth investigations. That sounds like it'd be a lot of fun. People
we got
probably
some
love that.
crazy ones, man. Operation Olympia Casa was a crazy one.
All right,
Let's
do it. We'll put it on the books.
Yeah.
Jack, popular question for the show. A lot of people listening are thinking about getting into law enforcement, or they're in backgrounds, or they're doing ride-alongs trying to figure it out. What advice would you give to new police officers or federal agents just now getting into the game?
I'll be very, very frank. It's a very rewarding experience. There's no doubt about that. Absolutely. Very rewarding career. My advice is get your education, get that bachelor's degree, get that, master's degree if you can. A lot of times, education is very important for moving up the chain of command, of course.
Right.
I always say this: train. Learn to train. Make sure you continuously train. Be continually training yourself. Don't just let it go. Once you got the uniform, the badge, you're done. Don't. You got to keep training. Listen to senior people. Listen to the ones that are worthy, the ones that have done it. Not the ones that think they've done it, but the ones that have done it. Get to the senior person. I was fortunate to lock up with a guy in Philly named Frank, wonderful guy, former NYPD detective. Him and I, agents, we hit it off. We still to this day, for many, many years, we still communicate. And lastly, eyes open, ears open, and mouth shut.
Yeah.
That's how you learn, man. That's how you learn. And it's tough for guys like us Irishmen to keep our mouths shut.
Yeah. Especially when you're new, when you're brand new, you'll stand out and be appreciated if you take it all in and you don't have to say nothing, but just, choose your words wisely and just learn. Yes, sir.
No, I appreciate it. I know we bounced around all the place. I hope your viewers understand how we did it. And I just, I really enjoyed it, Steve. I really enjoyed it, brother.
It was a pleasure, honor to have you, brother. So when people want to get after Jack McFarland, where do they go? I got your website here, and I understand that is going live like in hours. So right now it's Monday. This will come out Wednesday. So by the time this comes out, I think jackmcfarlanddea.com will probably be up and running.
Hopefully, yes, sir. This one, like you looked right here, is at LinkedIn. You can get me on LinkedIn, but I believe it or not, I'm doing the World Wide Web, jackmcfarlanddea.com. You can check it out. Also, you can find me, if I may be so, on LinkedIn and also on Truth as well. So they're my socials, because this whole thing is new to me. I never had this stuff, but now I do, and I'm hoping that it gets out. And I would love to speak. If you're looking for a speaker on motivation, teamwork, leadership, if you want to bring me in for some training to train your troops, I carry my certifications for the tacticals and the physical trainings. And
nice.
But thank you for allowing me to speak that. I really appreciate that.
My pleasure. And I will put a link to all that stuff to get at Jack in the show notes, so people won't have to go searching for it. They'll just be able to find it right there. Follow Jack. And like I said, honored to have you on, sir. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Steve, very much. And other than that, can I ask you? I'll ask you off air. Is that okay? If you're going to conclude, or
yeah. I'm going to do the exit, like the outro.
Okay.
And then I'll leave you in, and then I'll just come back when I'm done.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Send them to your audience as well. Thank you very much, guys.
All right, brother. Thank you, sir. Thank you. The great Jack McFarland, ladies and gentlemen, great stories, really fun guest. Definitely going to get him in the books to come back. He's just starting. He's just getting started, ladies and gentlemen. So follow his socials. Unfortunately, I was already the first one to follow him, but you could be second, third, fourth, 10,000th, right behind old Stevie Boy. This is a time in the show when I thank the Patreon sponsors. If you really love the show, you've heard all the episodes, all the free content, and you think, I would love to show my love for the show and for old Gingerface monetarily, you can do that through the link in the show notes and join the Patreon. If you do Sergeant or above, you will get a shout out on the show. These are the lieutenants. Who I'm talking about is great and powerful Andy Biggs. Joey Langley, thank you, sir. The great Kyle Roberts. Michael Roach, Roach Machines. AI Solutions, check him out. The great Thomas Connell. Now to the sergeants, Adam McMahon, Adam Mihal, Brad Thompson, Brett Lee, Dan Carlson from Burley Boards, amazing worker, check him out. Sherry Finch, Clark Lakoff, Dave Ellman, Dave, Dennis Carrasquillo, Doug, and Kelly Newman, Dylan Mosher, the great Elliot Sykes, Gabriel Decknop, thank you, Gary Stainer, George, Carey, Otis, Greg Gadboy, Jackson Dalton, Jason Labrie, Jason Lau, John Jordan, John Shoemaker, John and Aaron Kate, love you guys, see you at church, Lauren Stimson, the handsome Lane Campbell, Lisa Gano, everybody, Marcus Johansson, Iceman from Motorcop Chronicles, check out his podcast, Nancy Hammond, Raymond Arsenault, Richard Tolles, keep on trucking, brother, the great Sasha McNabb, Sam Conway, everybody, Scott Young, Sean Clifford, ladies and gentlemen, Seth Wright, Sheriff Ronald Long, thank you, sir, Tammy Walsh, holding it down to dispatch, thank you, Tammy, the great Tony Fahey, Zachary Pleat, everybody, and the handsome and venerable George Tessier. Guys, thank you so much for the continued support for the show. I do truly appreciate it. If you're still listening now, you are a true fan of the show, and I want to say thank you. And join the Patreon, support that way. It's great. You're gonna love it. Thank you, guys. I love you, and I'll see you next week.